Today is October the 16th. It's 1800 hours. It's 6 o'clock on the dot. Hopefully this is going to be short and sweet. Something that came to my attention through the Democratic presidential debates yesterday. Bernie Sanders wants to tax 600 people in this country at a 97% rate. There's only 600 people in a nation of 500 million. Think about this. There's only 600 people that are billionaires. Now, I don't care how much money somebody has. That's their business. If they invented a product, or we'll use an example of this, the guy that owns Amazon. He's worth billions. He's one of the richest people in the world. He started out of his garage. And he made Amazon what it is. Now, you can complain about Amazon, and Amazon put a lot of things out of business, big time. But that guy's ingenuity and coming up with a new idea and just the right time made him a billionaire. So, these 600 billionaires, it's actually 585 as of 2018, but let's just round it off to 600. So you got 600 people. That's roughly maybe the size of a large high school senior class. Think about this. In the entire nation that are worth billions of dollars. Each one is a billionaire in some aspect, multiple billions. They want to tax them at a 97% tax rate. Bernie Sanders wants to do this. Now, these guys are human beings. And what do you think they're going to do when they get a tax rate at 97%? I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. I have an uncle who worked for ComEd. And he worked a lot of overtime. And all that overtime put him into another tax bracket. When he saw the tax bracket he put himself into, he said, to hell with that. I am not going to do this anymore and put myself in a tax bracket where I am giving the government more money even though I'm working harder. I'm not going to do that. So that's what he did. He said, I am not doing this anymore. I'm not going to work these extra hours so the government can get more money out of me. Think about this. You don't think these 600 people that have more wealth than any of us will ever see in our life, you don't think they're going to come up with a way to say, I am not going to pay 97%. They have every right to try to protect their interests. So what they're going to do is they're going to say, what my uncle said, the hell if I'm going to pay these guys that, I am going to do something to protect the wealth that I built for myself and my family. Which means they may move out of the country. They may go somewhere else. They may pack up living in this nation all by themselves and go somewhere else and have a base of operations somewhere else. Now, how that works in the tax scheme of importing and so on and so forth and whatever, they will come up with a way to say, what's the point? What's the point of me making all this money if they're going to take 97% of it? Now, I don't know what these guys do with their money, but I will say this. They employ a lot of people. Let's take the guy that owns Tesla, and I don't keep up on these guys, but he's well known. This guy is extremely innovative and comes up with all kinds of new technologies. Think about all the people he employs, all the research and development people all by themselves, all the people that supply the materials for the research and development. Think about all the labs, all the universities, all the things that guy's money is going into to develop the technology that is particularly battery technology, that's going to benefit mankind down the road. So when you take 97% of the money he's making away from him, do you think he's going to reinvest it in development? And all the people that work for him, all the health insurance that he pays for those people, you know, and he's got all kinds of people working for him, right down to janitors, housekeeping, as well as scientists and engineers. And all these people work, pay taxes, put their kids through college, private schools, whatever, because of him. Stop thinking out of your ass and joining this communist class warfare over people that have more money than you. Be grateful for what you have. I am not a rich human being, but to some people, I'm considered filthy rich. But I'm not. I'm struggling tooth and nail at this point to make ends meet too. I have nothing against people, and you know, it's kind of ironic. Bernie Sanders used to be was not a millionaire, but he's a millionaire now. And if you don't know anything about Bernie Sanders, you need to look up his long history of doing nothing. And back in the day, he even took his honeymoon in the Soviet Russia and bragged about how wonderful Russia was. You can find video of him saying, hey, at least they had bread when you were standing in the bread line. And anybody that's young and doesn't know this, doesn't remember this, the Soviets used to have to stand in communist countries. They stood in line when bread was available. They couldn't just go to the store and pick from 500 different loaves of bread. You ever go to Costco and start looking at all the different types of bread there are? And you'd have to sit there and decide? I remember seeing from a Robin Williams movie called Moscow on the Hudson, and they send him to go get, he's about a defector that comes to the United States in New York. He goes into the grocery store to get some coffee. He's being from the Soviet Union, just said, oh, you're going to get coffee. There's a million things of coffee in it. He doesn't know what to get, and he collapses because he can't, he's never seen anything like that. Look at all these different brands of coffee. What do I pick? These people, Bernie Sanders is a downright communist, and if these people get into power, they will fundamentally change this nation, and you will see the beginning of an armed revolution that will begin with this. Now, getting back to these these 600 people. 600 people with this enormous wealth that employ a lot of people down the pipeline. Whether you don't think they got that all, they're hoarding that all in a big bank account and just go rolling into it like Ebenezer Scrooge? Do you think they're doing it? No. They take that money, they reinvest it back into their company, they reinvest it in new technologies and transport. They are constantly coming up with ways to make more money. And at the same time, hire more people and fire people because they come up with automation to replace these people. There's all kinds of things going on. But 97%, imagine you get taxed at a 97%. And here's the other thing that they're lying to you about. If you think they could take 97% of the wealth that these guys make, these 600 people, to pay for all the bullshit programs they got, you have your head up your ass. Because the truth is, they are going to have to find other sources of funding. Other sources of funding. And that's going to come from you. Because they're not going to get it from the poor people. They're not going to get it from the Bernie Sanders with his 100 million people laying on the streets of San Francisco. You're not going to get them. The majority of them are mentally ill as it is. What do you think you're going to do for them? You're not going to get anything from them. So you're going to go after all of the middle-class working people. They're going to go after all of you who are working hard every day. That are working to you don't want your kid. Imagine this. You don't want your kids in a god-awful public school. So you're paying out of your ass for a private school, and the government comes and wants to take 97% of your wealth away from you. You can't let these people get in power. You can't. And I hate to say this, you cannot let the poor dictate about how much money They want to take from you. Because this is what's going to happen. They want to take from the wealthy, and they want to make you think they're not going to touch you. But they're going to touch you because you, as a middle-class person, make up the majority of working people in this nation. You cannot tax the wealthy out of existence. It's just the reality of it. They are human beings just like you, and they are going to want to secure their interests that they worked hard for. You think these people just had the money handed to them? 600 people out of 500 million people. You think about that. They're going to pay for all the foolishness out of 600 people. That is a lie. They are lying to you. Remember that every time you see Bernie Sanders open his old ass mouth, or Elizabeth Warren for that matter. Jeez, don't be stupid. Just don't be stupid. Read behind the lines and don't allow these idiots to lie to you and make up shit just because you have tingling ears to make you happy. It's ridiculous.